Hello and welcome to Modelling Misadventures. And guess what? Today is new project day. Right, let's have a look what's inside here. This is the SLEC motor torpedo boat called a KD Perkasa in 1/40th scale. So this particular kit is a model of a Vosper fast patrol boat, built for the Royal Navy in the 50s, then sold to the Royal Hellenic Navy, Royal Danish Navy, Royal Malaysian Navy and the Brunei Navy and the Libyan Navy, all built and in service by 1968. This particular model is of the Perkasa class, produced for the Royal Malaysian Navy, went into service in 1967. Now I've been sitting on this kit for just over a year. My mum bought it for my birthday last year and I haven't had a chance to get around to making it, but I've just finished the last project. It's time to start this one. So you can see in here there's just a ton of plywood parts, fittings, some back form stuff, looks like some plans. They also got me all the electronics and motors, so I've got a motor there, speed controller, prop shaft is in there. This is going to be awesome to make this. Now you actually get 3 sets of instructions with this kit. You get the building instructions here. You can see there what the boat's going to look like. Lovely, isn't it? Then you get this picture instruction booklet and a fittings building instruction booklet. So the building instructions is just all text telling you what to do. Got some wiring instructions, the parts list. Oh, look at those. And then the picture instructions. Oh wow, look at those. They're beautiful, aren't they? These are what you need when you're putting it together. That's going to be great, isn't it? Everything's nicely numbered. Looks as though it should go together really nice. All the parts here. Parts list, all numbered. Oh wow, look at that. Isn't this going to be awesome? Fantastic. And then on the fittings building instructions, this is all the small stuff. Little bits and pieces. Lots of little fiddly woodwork, I imagine. And some back form parts. Yeah. A lot of work in this, isn't there? Oh yes. Look at that. I cannot wait to get started on this. Beautiful. And this here, this plan, it's not a building plan, but shows you where all the fittings go. That's quite useful. And it shows you the full scale size of the model. Right, here we go. The keel pieces. So I'm going to glue these 3 keel pieces together with exterior wood glue. Just putting some little spaces in here to make sure it's properly aligned. Looks pretty good. So I've got the 2 keel piece halves glued together here. These are going to be joined together to make the whole keel. Now I've got this keel glued together and they want to do a test fit of the prop shaft that goes through that hole down there. And it is a little way off, it's a bit too tight. I'm going to have to try and file it down a bit. I'm going to do a fair bit of filing to get it in. Right, got it through. Lovely. Nice snug fit as well. Right, the next step is to start working on the deck and fastening the keel on and all the frames. I love this bit. Got all those lovely parts. Now put my modelling board down. This is so that I can pin the parts to it as I'm assembling it. Just going to cover this in some polythene. Right, that's down. That's just to stop the glue sticking to the board underneath. Right, I'm just going to pin this down, the deck to the board, to stop it from moving about. There we are. Right, this piece is called a doubler. It's just to strengthen the front end of that deck. So just glue that on. Now you've got to put these wooden strips here along the edge of this deck. And you can see there's a bend in here. That's always a bit tricky. Have to see if we can bend it or steam it. So I'm having a go at the steaming technique for this wood. Just going to keep it above that boiling water for about 10 minutes and then see what happens. Alright, I'll see if I can bend these into position. I'm going to try and glue them on with a combination of wood glue and super glue. So super glue for immediate hold and wood glue just for strength. Well, it looks like it's bent all right, doesn't it? I'm going to do this front section first. Just some super glue along here. And alternate that with some little blobs of wood glue. I don't know if that's necessary, but I just like to do it like that. Right, let's see if this will hold. Stick it on there, bend it in, and get it level. Well, that's worked brilliantly, so now I can just put the side strips down along here. Same technique. Just a bit of super glue for immediate grab and the rest wood glue. That looks great. Right, next we're going to put some frames around the front of this keel. You've just got to be careful when you glue that together that the frames are all square 90 degrees. But that's done. Now these are all the frames need cutting out and then dry fit, then we'll put them on. Now these are all numbered on the plan. I've just numbered them on here so I know which ones I'm dealing with. Well, that's gone together really easily and very nicely actually. Really good quality, this kit so far. Right, next we're going to put these stringers and chines on along the bottom here. I'm going to use super glue for these to hold them fast while it bends. Now it does say you can steam these to get them to bend a bit more easily, like I did earlier, but they're actually going on really easily just with the super glue, and they're sticking in really nicely. All the stringers have gone on really nicely. I'm going to take it off the board now and do a bit of sanding. This is already coming together very nicely. The deck looks good. Frames and skins look very nice. Now I'm just going to do the sanding on the outside of the hull to get ready for the skins. Need to drill a hole in here for the rudder tube and make sure the prop shaft fits. And then we'll be putting the outer skins on. This is the rudder they've supplied with the boat. This is actually an 8mm diameter tube. So I'm going to drill an 8mm hole in there. Now I drilled a 5mm guide hole for this, and then I use a 7mm drill, and the rudder is threaded and it screws in really nicely. So that's perfect. Now I just want this to be a nice flat surface for the skin. Just got to sand the stringers down level with the frames. Can't beat a leaf blower for getting rid of the sawdust. Right, it's back on the board and it's time to put these rear skins on. That's where they're going to go. As usual, going to use a combination of wood glue and super glue. Just leave that to dry for a few minutes. Now to cover this front end, they're using a technique that I've never used before called double diagonal planking. And it means putting lots of little thin strips of wood in one direction like this, and then doing a second layer with the wood at right angles to that one. Never done that before. Again, just gluing these on with super glue and putting some white glue along the edge. Well, that's the first layer of planking done, and nice technique, come out very well. Now I'm going to sand all this down now and get it all flush before I put the next layer on. So this is looking lovely now, all sanded down, smooth along the edge. Got it all done here. Prop tube, hole in, rudder tube hole. Lovely. So now it's time for this second layer, and these planks just go on at 90 degrees to the others. Well, that's all the double planking done. Makes a very nice hull. So this is going to need sanding off along the edges, and I'm going to have to do something about this bit here. Sand it down into level with the keel, but it's looking good. Well, that's the hull all sanded smooth. Now it's time to tackle this bit, and we're going to put on a curved piece around the bow like that, and then fill in with some balsa blocks. Now I've glued this front piece on, and it's not that easy to bend it, so I'm going to give it a little bit of steam and then try and tack it down. Well, that's gone on quite easily, and it just needs sanding down now. So that's come out really nice. Fits lovely. So next, got to fill these big holes in here with great big blocks of balsa. Well, looks like some more cutting and sanding. Now I've just got to hack all that off. Now that's just a very rough cut using hacksaws and scalpel blades, but it's getting closer. Now I'm going to glue this on at this stage and finish off the sanding and cutting with it attached. Right, that's both of the front blocks done, roughly shaped. Now a bit of sanding. Well, there's my front end done, and it is looking very nice. Now, before we do any more on this hull, they're telling us to put the motor mount and the prop shaft in. So for the running gear, we've got this brushless motor here, which came from SLEC. Now, it did say in the kit that there was meant to be a motor mount. There wasn't one in mine, but I did have this one handy. So that's going to get screwed on there like that. And then we've got a coupler and the prop shaft. And the motor's going to be mounted on these wooden plates. Well, this is just a dry fit of the running gear. The motor on its mount, the coupling down to the prop shaft and out to the prop. It all seems to fit nicely. So I'm just going to fasten and glue all that in. Just roughing up the outside of this prop shaft so that the glue will stick a bit better. And I'm going to use 15-minute epoxy to glue it in. Now you don't want to get any glue around near the end, so I'm just going to put some on the middle here and it'll spread out as I push it through. Now on my model, this prop shaft support here isn't a proper fit. You can see there's a gap between the prop and the support. I'm going to cut out a new one and make it a better fit. That's a much better fit. I've got my prop shaft all glued in. So now I'm going to try and fit the motor. Now I'm just going to file a flat onto this motor and prop shaft. Just to give a bit more security when we put the coupling on. I've got the supports for the engine mounting. I had to do it a little bit differently from how they suggested. I had to get a slightly different angle just because of my motor mount, but it's in and I've just marked the screw hole positions. So before I do anything else, I'm going to waterproof the inside of this hull. Now I'm going to use this stuff called Easy Coat made by Deluxe. It's a 1-part finishing resin and can be cleaned up with water, so less mess. We'll have to just see how it goes. Well, I've given that a good coating and sealed all the joints, so it should be nice and waterproof now. Time to put these big side pieces on now. Again, bit of super glue and wood glue. Well, the sides have gone on pretty easily. And now they just need sanding flush, because you can see there's a bit of an overhang on the top and the bottom. So sand those off. I think it'll look good. Oh, once again, it's come out very nice. All fits together beautifully, this kit. So next up, just got to put together a few bits to make a battery box and the servo holder. So here's the battery box and servo holder. Very easy to make. Just have to cut a little slit there to let the wires come out, and you've got to make sure you put this on the right way up. It shows it the other way in the plan, but anyway, that's going to go inside the hull shortly. This is going to need waterproofing with Easy Coat, and in here where I put the outer skin on, I'm going to coat that with Easy Coat as well. That's the battery box and servo holder glued in the bottom of the hull. Well, there we have it, the hull so far. It's looking pretty nice, isn't it? Lovely underneath. The inside's all waterproof, battery box is in. So I think that's a good place to stop today. Got the basics of the hull finished. In the next video, we're going to have to finish this hull by doing some fiberglassing and epoxy on the outside. So that'll be interesting. But for now, I'll say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Modelling Misadventures.